Welcome to this session on championing retail in the GCC. My name is Anand. I'm from Flipkart in India. It's great to be here talking to these celebrity superstars of retail from the region. So I just take a quick minute and ask each of the speakers to quickly introduce themselves, and then we'll dive into a bunch of topics. Starting with Rami, you, sir.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be together today. My name is Rami Abu Ghazala. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Al-Baik Food Systems. It's a 200-restaurant chain, mainly in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, and soon in Kuwait, inshallah. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anas Boumediene. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Aywa. We're building the largest direct-to-consumer eyewear brand in the Middle East. We started as a digital native 6 years ago. We were a retailer of third-party brands. We moved into selling our own brands, and then we moved into being an omnichannel retailer. We have now 120 stores that we've opened in the last 3 years across 5 countries.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. My name is Neeraj Tekchandani. I'm the CEO at the Apparel Group. Apparel Group operates about 2,200 plus stores in the region with 85 international brands, and our spread is across 14 countries over 4 continents. We also have a presence with the online with sixthstreet.com. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is John Haddon. I'm the CEO of Alshaya Group. Alshaya Group, we have over 4,000 stores across 18 markets with 55,000 people that work for us. And the best statistic of all, we have over 200 nationalities that work for us, so a very diverse group, representing 70 brands across all retail sectors. And I've been with Alshaya for just close to 25 years.
Cool, thank you. And my name is Anand Lakshminarayanan. I head the consumer experience and Flipkart Commerce Cloud business for Flipkart India. Great to be here with all of you. So we'll start our session with the first topic around opportunities in the GCC region, the changing market dynamics, the size of the retail business, how it's growing, a bunch of insights from our esteemed panel. So first, John, I'll start with you. Could you shed some light on how retail has grown in the region in the last few years, and what do you see happening, projecting out for the next few years?
First and foremost, I think, because I tell my team every single day, we're very, very fortunate to be in this part of the world. I think we're in the best part of the world for retail, huge opportunity. GDP growth is still very, very strong, north of 4% in most of the markets. And when I look across the rest of the world and think, where do we really want to be? Where do we really want to play? We're very, very fortunate, I think, with the support of the governments and other retail groups to be in this part of the world. Clearly, at the moment, it's challenging. The geopolitical tension that's in the region is definitely affecting some consumer sentiment, we can say, across some of the markets that we operate. But we're very, very bullish about what we see in terms of the future. As Alshaya, we're in 18 countries, as I said earlier, across the 4,000 stores and a large e-commerce presence. But I think as it relates to the GCC, we're strong believers, particularly in 4 markets of the GCC. So for us, if you look at Qatar, Kuwait, but most importantly UAE and Saudi, they are the drivers of any business that you have within this particular region. So if you want to do business here, you want to be successful here, you really have to focus on those 4 markets, and in particular the 2. Saudi Arabia and the UAE. At the moment, the UAE is the strongest market we have in the GCC. You can see from the growth, and you would have seen it in the UAE and in Dubai over the last couple of days, this market is booming. This market is on fire, both in terms of population growth, but also in terms of tourism. And the government here has done such an incredible, incredible job to support businesses across all of the sectors that we operate in, that UAE is doing extremely well. A little bit softer in Saudi, but we're big believers in Saudi. And ultimately, what are we trying to do? Ultimately, we're trying to meet the demands of a younger and younger population. If you take the GCC, GCC is 55 million people across the 6 countries. Over half of those people live in one country. 30 of the 55 million people live in Saudi Arabia, so you cannot ignore Saudi Arabia if you want to grow from a retail perspective in the market. And then the other interesting dynamic here is the age of the population. Over 50% of those 55 million people that are in this region are under the age of 35. So when you start to think about brands, you start to think about what you bring to the market, it has to be on the basis of a younger population, that it is extremely mobile savvy. Most people in this region carry at least one mobile phone with them. They're probably the most tech-savvy population anywhere across the world. And so when you're thinking about brands, and you're thinking about experience, and you think about what you do, we don't do anything unless it's mobilely enabled. So you can use it on your phone. So for us, the future is new brands fitting that young generation, and with two parts to it. Firstly, from the brand side, representing world-class brands that have an edge, have a difference, and a product that clearly is relevant. And secondly is the retail experience. The retail in-mall experience in this part of the world is still very, very strong. It's very unique to other parts of the world, in the US and the West. I think the shopping mall is a smaller part of the business it is before. For the Al Shire Group, over 85% of our business is still in malls, and it's the most profitable part of our business. So whatever we do, online, offline, channels, et cetera, we want to drive our people into our restaurants, into our coffee shops, and into our retail outlets, because it's really, really important that we create the best environments, and that will happen. As a business at the moment, we're developing two very, very large shopping malls in Saudi Arabia, one in Riyadh, which will be close to 400,000 square meters of GLA. We're halfway through a 5-year development build there. And then we're building another 200,000 square meters in Khobar in Eastern Province. So for us, we believe in shopping malls, we believe in the shopping mall experience, but we have to come to the party and we have to improve what we currently do today. So two prongs of attack for us in terms of what we're seeing going forward in the future. One is bringing new brands to the region, particularly with an eye on the young consumer and the Saudi young consumer. And secondly, continue to improve the retail environment with the malls that we bring to the table, along with many of our partners that we have across the region.
Thank you so much, John.
And if I can add on to what John has said, the other thing is also the last couple of years, we have seen a lot of economic diversification, liberalization of the policies, 100% foreign ownership. The overall pie has been going bigger and bigger. Some of the geopolitical crisis has even helped the economy because there has been a big flight of people and flight of money into the country. So we are seeing the spending power has improved and gone greater. The other piece that I will see is also the online commerce has gone significantly. Pre-COVID, we were not even 2% of that. Today, everybody of us is in double digits. And you're seeing new players, new entrants coming to the market. So the overall size of the market is getting bigger and bigger. And this year, there is about 6 new malls opening in the region. Right? And we constantly have like 3 to 4 shopping malls opening every year in the region. And some of the mega ones, like the Avenues and Riyadh and so on. So those are all the positive things which we are seeing. And similar to John, we opened about 350 stores last year. We'll open over 400 stores this year. We added about 18 new brands to our portfolio and taking larger market share.
Wonderful. So the region is continuing to see huge growth in offline retail as well. Just moving on a little bit, maybe Rami, I'll ask you to share your thoughts on this. What do you think are some of the changing trends in this region? How people are evolving their practices, habits? Could you talk a little bit about that?
I'll give Saudi Arabia as a big example, especially with the future-looking, forward-looking leadership that we have there. Society has changed in an incredible way, in an incredible speed. And add to that what happened during COVID, and you find that the customer of yesterday has changed totally. Yesterday, we used to have big restaurants. We used to have a big rush in these restaurants. Customers were enjoying talking to each other, interacting while waiting for their food, and so on. Today, with the women going into the workforce in big numbers, the family has changed, their expectations have changed. Both husband and wife are working in the household. They come back tired. They don't want to cook. And they don't want to go to a restaurant to waste their time. They want to order very quickly, finish what they need to finish as eating, and then they want to go to a coffee place to spend time with their friends and so on. So this shift has put so much pressure on the old way of doing business. And there are so many challenges that come with it, especially with a family that is getting smaller, and people after COVID feeling like they need to live today like there is no tomorrow. So they're going more and more on credit. They're living everything they can on credit rather than spending from as much as they can afford. All these dynamics are changing the way we consume, the way we live, and so on. So the biggest challenge that we have is seeing all these changes happening. Where does a brand like ours fit from a social point of view? How can we, with all this fast-changing dynamics, how can we represent the values of the country, represent the values that we know from before, and make sure that we can be part of this growing population, but keeping the goodness of what we are all about and spreading that worldwide, hopefully one day. Thank you.
Thanks, Rami. Maybe I'll ask you, Anas, about, and we talked about changing population demographics, changing preferences. We're also talking about offline retail and online. Tell us maybe what your learnings are from, blending offline and online channels for your business, for your category.
Yeah, happy to do so. So our experience is a little bit unique because we started as an online retailer and then we moved into operating physical stores. And then from day one, we're thinking about how we can make the experience omnichannel for our customers. And that means, for example, when you're buying eyewear, and you go to a website, when I see how the frames look on you, if you only have an online store, you need to use technologies like virtual try-on for people to get a sense of how the frames are going to look on them. But then when you go and open stores, we kept that in mind and we said, okay, we also sell color contact lenses. And color contact lenses is a product that you cannot really try, you have to buy it without trying. But then we use the same technology of virtual try-on in our stores to be able to give our customers the same ability to see how the products will look on them. And then there's always this constant bridge between online and offline. What we realized, because we spent 3 years building an e-commerce first, and then we started operating our first store, is that a lot of our customers, when they come to our stores, they actually started their shopping experience online. Mm-hmm. So more than 50% started the journey on the app, on the website. And then you start thinking, okay, how can I improve the experience for them so that when they make the transition from online to offline, it's seamless. So for example, when it comes to booking an appointment with an optometrist, when it comes to reserving items that you would like to test in the store, how can you make it easier? Mm-hmm. And then that mindset that we have of being a digital native brand, we're very strong in analytics. We always do A/B testing. And that's also something that we brought when we did our retail expansion. We did a lot of A/B testing with our stores, mm-hmm. and we use the same technologies because online data is available everywhere, and you can analyze it and you can make better decisions. Offline is a little bit different. You have to do some extra work to actually be able to do that. For example, using heat maps of the stores to see where are people going to spend more time, what are the areas that have the highest traffic? Should we reshuffle the merchandising to optimize for that? So the omnichannel journey, for us, has 2 legs. One leg is on the customer side. How do we make the experience the best possible, both online and offline, and whenever possible? If they want to shop in a third-party platform, be it a social media or a marketplace, how can we enable that? But the second leg is also, as a retailer, as an operator, how can we take the best of both worlds, of mm-hmm. both online and offline, and use them together to offer our customers a better experience as well?
Wonderful. Thank you, Anas, for that. That actually takes us to the next topic, which is what Anas already started talking about, which is customer-facing innovation. What are some of the innovations that the different businesses are doing in order to be able to give world-class customer-facing services and experiences? So maybe Neeraj, you could talk about things that you have done, your group has done.
So continuing on Anas's thing, and Anand, if you have not checked out, just see the sixthstreet.com phygital store. Yeah. This is the first in the region, which we opened in Dubai Hills Mall. And this blends completely what Anas was mentioning, how the offline and the online come together. It's a very unique experience for the customer. We started this as an experiment about 1.5 years back, but today it has become like a business model, and we are expanding this, and we'll be opening one flagship in each of the cities in the region. Other than that, I think so in our brick and mortar stores means for the customer facing, there are a lot of technologies, so none of our stores today has the traditional cash desks. So we have completely moved to mobile point of sales in all our stores. We are also experimenting as we speak the frictionless checkout in our big concept stores like BBC and R&B. So that's another initiative. And then we are trying with Store of the Future with some of the brands with intelligent mirrors and things like that. But the biggest piece of our journey is the Omnichannel. So whether it's sixthstreet.com, whether it's monobrand.com or the brick and mortar, all are seamlessly connected. So be it click and collect, exchange at the store, refund at the store, even for the point of view of the loyalty program. So Club Apparel, which has got over 10 million members now, connects it seamlessly. So you can earn offline, burn online on whichever way. So that's a true omni-channel world that we live in today. So these are some of the initiatives at the Apparel Group.
Understood. I understand you also have a loyalty program that spans across these as well. Can you talk a little bit about how that works between offline and online?
So even if I go back in the days, this program was launched in 2011, and it was the first in the region which was non-plastic. So sustainability, which I heard the previous presentation. So somehow we wanted to be tech forward in that space, so it was NFC based. So your mobile was the Club Apparel membership card. So over this journey means today we have 10 million members. Now we've extended the program to India also. So it's live across 7 countries. And it connects seamlessly, as I said, all over 2,000 plus stores, plus monobrand.coms and the sixthstreet.com.
Wonderful. John, you want to add your thoughts on this?
First of all, talk about loyalty and then the customer. I think the loyalty piece in this region is so important. We haven't quite got 10 billion yet. We're at 8.5 with ours, but we launched our program called Aura, A-U-R-A, across all 70 of the Al Shire brands just short of 2 years ago. And what it taught us is the ability clearly to have much more personalization in terms of messaging with our consumer base, but it also taught us about cross-shopping. What we're finding is the cross-shopper, the loyal shopper, the shopper that redeems the points, these are our most important customers, and how we focus on them, how we interact with them, and how we get them to cross all of the Al Shire brands is so important. So today you have the opportunity to go to Shake Shack and have a burger tomorrow and earn some points, and then go and redeem it in Victoria's Secrets or American Eagle, which gives a great customer experience, but at the same time it also gives lots and lots of data for us to be able to use for a customer experience. But also we're investigating how can we monetize that in various shapes or form, particularly with regard to data privacy at the moment. But how we can take that and where that goes makes us quite unique, because both from the Apparel Group and Al Shire, we represent this group of brands, which makes it quite unique from a loyalty perspective. Rather than just having one brand with one loyalty program, you're able to earn points and collect across a multitude. So I think loyalty is clearly very important as well. Customer-facing initiatives, I think for us, as sort of licensees or franchisees, a lot of it's driven by the brands. And the brands that we represent, I think, if I split them between F&B and non-F&B, I think our F&B brands in particular are much more focused both digitally, customer innovation, et cetera, than the non-F&B. And I'll give you a few examples of that. So we represent brands like Starbucks, like Shake Shack across the region. And we're able now, which we didn't have even 6-7 years ago, to serve the consumer in so many different ways in a seamless approach. So not only do we have the ability to serve in restaurant, you now have mobile order and pickup where you can be on your device, 100 yards from your local Starbucks, you order it, you go in, the beverage is waiting for you at the end of the handoff plane, and you have a completely seamless experience in terms of doing it. Same time, you've got delivery, whether that be delivery you do yourselves or delivery through the third-party aggregators, many of which you'll see in the West as well. And then you've got drive-through and other ways as well. So this concept or idea of purely from an F&B perspective, having one channel of interaction with the consumer, which is in dining, whether that's in a coffee shop or a restaurant, has been blown out of the water, in my opinion, over the course of the last 10 years. And that opportunity for us to connect and get the loyalty piece, but do it in so many different ways, I think is really, really important. In the non-F&B space, lots and lots of work going on. We've recently launched a brand called Alo Yoga, A-L-O, in Dubai Mall, and I think a group of you are going to go and visit the store this afternoon. There for the first time with us, and I think probably Apparel and Shabib and some of these guys have been doing it for a while, but for us it was the first time we were able to offer a mobile app. We were able to offer e-commerce website, store, coffee shop experience inside the store, and then a lot of technology for our partners as well, all on the same day, which we've never been able to. So for us now, when we launch a brand, it's not just a case of opening the store and waiting for the consumers to come. There is so much more to it, so much more complication, but ultimately what do we want? We want the consumer to come to the store. But we fully, fully believe, which we probably didn't 5 years ago, that the online piece was as important as the offline piece. And what we're seeing at the moment is they may not shop with you online, but they certainly want to browse online. They want to decide in terms of what it is they want. So they then come to the store and interact. So both are very, very important to us.
Thanks, John. I know, Anas, you talked about the same thing, about customers starting the journey online and then finishing in the store. And I know Iowa has done a lot of innovation in-store to make that experience seamless and world-class, all the way from the music you play in your stores. Could you talk about what you've done in your stores?
Sure. So I think like as a retailer, like we have to change a little bit our mindset of thinking about online versus offline. People ourselves, like we're both online and offline all the time. Like you always have your phone like with you and you're getting notifications and WhatsApp messages, and sometimes you start your journey on Instagram or on TikTok, and then you move to the website or to the app, and then you visit the store. And I think we have to adapt to the way people behave today and just make it easier for them to move from one channel to another and having that consistency. So the consistency comes with two aspects. Like the first one is when you start a journey and then you move from a channel to another, how can we ensure that there's a communication, that there's a link between the two, that there is not a gap, like that you started your journey, you started browsing, you have certain items that you added to your cart, to your wish list. You come to the store, and then the store operator can see that information. He knows you, he has the information, and we'll be able to serve you better because he already has access to that data. That's one part. The second part when it comes to making the link between online and offline is how do we ensure that there is a consistency on the service level? When you shop online, everybody gets the same app, the same website, the same message. You know exactly that everybody getting the same messaging. When you operate stores, you have hundreds and thousands of operators that are on the ground that are going to give it their own flavor. And that changes the customer experience. So what you care about is how can you standardize it so that when you have a retail store in Arar in northern Saudi, or if you have another store in Dubai Mall, that the same customer experience is being provided to the end customer. And here, like again, like it's about bridging the bridge, using technology to do that, to train the people, to give them SOPs and making sure that they know how to behave with customers and tracking that consistency. At the end, like what we have to do is really be close to our customers, speak to them, understand, get feedback, and use that to improve the experience again and again, both online and offline.
Wonderful, thank you. Continuing on the topic of innovations, Rami, you had to do a lot of innovative, different things during the pandemic to keep your food business going. Sure. Tell us about some of those innovations.
If I may, just to add a little to
Please.
what was thoughtfully said, the biggest challenge, again, is brands are becoming more and more looked at as people. We are alive. We are interacting with our societies and our customers, And going online, the biggest challenge is how to make sure that love, that trust, that inspiration that your brands are really doing on the ground, how you can translate that into online. And the bigger challenge is the third parties that are coming in between to deliver that have nothing to do with whatever values you are standing for. So all this is a very dynamic challenge that we need to figure out one way or another before we go all the way into one way. Concerning innovation, our biggest challenge for years was that if we don't serve 8 to 10 customers every minute in our restaurants, we're in trouble, because we developed our business model on high volume and very little profit. So for all these years, we were not able to create a drive-through experience, because the fastest drive-through was always 30 seconds per customer or 2 customers per minute. And you had 8 to 10 customers per minute, so the lines are going to be all the way out in the street, disrupt life, and so on. So what we did during COVID, we developed a 5-lane, one-of-its-kind drive-through in the world, okay, where we used technology to decide where the cars, which lane they would go to. We built our kitchens up upstairs, full view, full windows to see what's going on. And with travelators, we were sending the food down. We broke the challenge that we had. And now, although the lines are still 1.5 hours waiting to get the food, but it's going 5-10 cars a minute, which is amazing. Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank
Very
you.
cool indeed. On the lines of innovation that we've been talking about, I know, Anas, you spoke about A/B testing and using customer data. A big technological breakthrough that's going on around the world is Gen AI, right? Yeah. And maybe I'll start with you, John, on this. Is Gen AI making a big change in retail today? Is it something that you're looking forward to for the future? Tell us more about where this fits in your innovation.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and I'm very fortunate in the reflection this year. I went to Davos for the first time. My boss goes every year, and every year he'd say, come, 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 you need to go. And I went, and I spent 3 days in Davos, and if any of you get an opportunity to go, you must go. It's quite an experience. But I spent 3 days sitting in sessions talking to people about one subject, and that one subject was generative AI. And I went there knowing very little. I left knowing a little bit more. But what it made me realize was that it's the future in Gen AI, whilst it's in our business, I'll talk about it in a second, is not necessarily with the likes of me, it's with the likes of the younger population that are coming through. So what have we done in our Shire? So many of our third-party suppliers are using Gen AI, so we use it, for example, in our customer interaction center. Sure. We use a third party called Sprinkler, and they use generative AI and bots and everything else. So what we're finding is many of the suppliers and in the logistics space are using it already. But what we've decided to do as our Shire is we've decided to create a group of young people, a lot brighter than myself and the rest of my senior team, and we're going to let this thing happen. We did a survey last December where we put a survey out to the 50,000 people in our Shire about who uses AI. And I thought we'd get a response of 5%, 6%, 7%. 55% of our people said we use it in some way, shape, or form with the examples that we have. So what we realize is there's a community there. So what do we do in terms of that community? How do we grow it? And the traditional method would be you bring consultants in, you get your senior leadership team to think of a strategy. What do I do? What do I need to, how do I grow this thing? But what we've decided to do is create an AI community within our Shire of champions, all of which are a lot younger than I, but are really, really excited about it, because what I'm realizing with it is you've got to understand it, you've got to be excited about it, and you've got to want to use it. We've started to use Copilot a lot now, more than we did in the past, but I would say we're just at the start, because we can't use it for product innovation because we're a franchisee, so product innovation comes from the brands that we represent. But what we do believe, particularly within our supply chain models and some of the customer-facing stuff that we have, is there is an opportunity for us. But as I say, no means an expert. We are in the really early days. We have so much data that we do have, so we're very rich in terms of data. The question is, how do we use it and what we use it, whether it's through third parties or we let this thing just happen within our shire. And at the moment, our view is that we should just let this thing organically grow with some guardrails, because you do have to be very careful in terms of what you're sharing. But this community that we've created is really a buzz across our shire in terms of what we're doing. So lots more work to do, but it's definitely the future from what I can see.
Anybody else wanted to talk or add on to what John just said?
So I can add what we are doing. So similar to Alshaya, I think so it's early days for us as well, but we have embarked on this journey. There is some tools that we have been using in the HR function of the organization. There is some which we have been using in terms of various modules in the supply chain efficiency, so be it demand forecasting, markdown optimization, transfer optimization, price optimization, a couple of those modules. We have also built a large team in the organization which is looking at AI and data science and taking it to the next level. But one thing is for sure, this is here to stay. Everyone is learning to adapt and to make the best use of it, and so is the case with us.
Understood. Another question on the kind of the changing market here that we covered in the beginning is kind of the co-evolution of online and offline, omnichannel, which we've been talking throughout. I believe there's a lot more online entrants coming in addition to what we have in terms of known, Amazon, etc. I think Trendyol, Shein, and a few others are entering the market as well. Do you see things changing in this region because of these new entrants? Is online going to be bigger, or is offline going to outpace online's growth? Any thoughts on that?
So I think what we have to realize is in this region, we have young demographics. In my organization, for example, we have like the average age of a team member is 26 years old. So these are native users of e-commerce. Like they grew up with social media. So like the behavior that we see in the GCC is very different than what you see in Europe. Like in Europe or in the US, like you see a gradual improvement over time. In this region, like we see a leapfrog. You don't go through the same steps that the Europe or mature markets went through. Like you jump over them. And this is what we see in the region. You know, like the growth rate of e-commerce and e-commerce penetration is a lot faster than elsewhere. Like we have in the UAE the highest penetration of smartphones in the world. So that directly makes a big difference in the way consumers behave. And as brands, we have to start building for the region. Like a lot of the international brands, like they come with a global mindset and they look at what works in the US or Europe and try to adapt it slightly to the region. But you need to have like really strong local partners that can help you do that. And you need to start building with the local customer in mind. That's the difference, and what we have been focusing on at AIWA is that we created 8 brands now in eyewear from the region, for the region, having that customer in mind that is very different from the global customer.
Understood.
Could I just add a couple of things on that, if you wouldn't mind? So I think so these marketplaces or distributors from outside the region, they're here, and they're making big inroads here, particularly in Saudi Arabia with many of the Chinese companies. And I think there is this balance that we have to strike between businesses that we all represent across here and these online players. Because if you think about it, what are we doing? Both Raj and myself, we're basically investing in warehousing, we're investing in people, we're investing in stores to bring brands to the market. We're paying our taxes, we're paying our import duties, we're paying everything. And we're also developing online brands as well, whether that's in a marketplace with the likes of Trendyol and Temu, et cetera, or whether that's our own .com brands. And I think at the moment, in some of the markets, there is a sort of unfair competition where people coming from outside the market can distribute to this market very, very easily, very cheaply. are spending huge money on marketing, but it's not a level playing field. Now, that's the competitive nature of the world. So I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying that we should just we should change the model. But I do think there is at the moment some work that needs to be done at a regulatory level to make sure that the competition is a little bit fairer, because we are employing locals. In Saudi Arabia, we have over 15,000 people working for us, of which half of those are females. And these are local Saudis that we're employing. Now, these other brands that are shipping stuff into the market aren't doing that. They're just shipping stuff from abroad straight in. And it's just, it's not a fair game. So I think as we look to up our games, because we all have to up our games, if I look at the online experience with some of our brands compared to the online experience with some of the marketplaces, we've got a long way to go. But I think at the same time that it has to be looked at regulatory-wise. Otherwise, you're going to have all of the investors, such as ourselves and everybody along here, playing on an unfair playing field when we're trying to invest and bring locals through and invest people in the market. So I think there is this that needs to be looked at, and we have talked about this for a while.
Just changing topics a little bit, I know for new brands coming into the region, that I know you all bring in, especially in the apparel side. And I know you talked about Iva's story and how products are being built for the local market by the people here. What do you think about new brands coming in, strategy for the new entrants? How do they think about this market? How do they become big here? What would you say about that? Maybe, Neeraj, you can start.
So I would say fundamentally means any brand, whether international, local, homegrown, whichever way, community building is the #1 thing, whether it's Hello over here or Lululemon or the likes of these brands. So for any new brand, it's important means to build that community around. That would be the #1 thing. But also to customize or tailor-make, whether they're marketing campaigns or other things, according to the regional nuances over here, to have a local brand ambassador, do a local capsule and things like that. I think so these would be the key things for any new entrant or any new brand coming to the market.
Understood. Rami, I know you said a brand is like a person, like people. How do you become a lovable brand in this region?
It takes 50 years to do that. No, seriously. It's a 3-step process in the way we see it. First of all, you've got to have the know-how, and you've got to do the best you can with that know-how to build day in, day out trust between you and the customer. And trust is not just a great product or a great service. Trust is in the way you act, your pricing, they have to trust everything, every word you say. They've got to really feel that trust, because the next step after trust is eternal love, okay? Which is, okay, I trust you. Now anything and everything you do extra beyond what I'm paying for that trust is what creates that eternal love, okay? So always for small business, give more than you take. Let customers feel the great value that you're creating, and do not try to be smart and cut corners or think that you are smarter than that customer. Third step is to become an inspiration where, okay, I love what they're doing. I want to do the same, okay? I want to do better than what they're doing. And that's where these young entrepreneurs, it starts to click for them that, yes, we can. Local brands were able to do it. Why can't we? So this is the 3-step process we build on, we work on day in, day out. And that's what I would advise for.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Sounds good. I think we are at time for the panel discussion. So thank you all for coming and sharing your valuable insights with this group.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.